Hey, aloha Usos, and mahalo so much for the 200 subs, right? Really do appreciate it. And today I got an insane Dragonknight tank build for everybody called the Vampiric Dragonborn, and I've laid some background gameplay showcasing the ridiculous survivability of this character in really difficult dungeons. I've tried to let it die in certain instances, and I want to say it's nearly impossible, so if you need to wipe for a specific dungeon, better hope that the boss has a one-hit mechanic or something has a one-hit mechanic, because you're probably not going to go down. With that being said, let's get started. Now for the class, you want to be using a Dragonknight. In my opinion, I don't think there's any other class that has better team buffs, team shields than the Dragonknight. So this is really the best character for your traditional old school tank. Now in terms of your race, I'm going to say Nord, and that's really just due to its insane tankiness with ultimate regen and cold resistance and all that jazz. However, I do think that Imperials, Dark Elves, and Orcs are fine as well, right? So you have your Imperial if you want cost reduction, extra stamina and health, Dark Elf if you want weapon damage, fire resistance, as well as extra stamina and magicka, and Orcs if you want that extra sprint speed, weapon damage, stamina, and some health regen when you attack enemies. In terms of your attributes, you want to put mostly into health and some into stamina if you want more block or if you want to block longer. Choice is really up to you. And as you can see on the right, I mean, the stats are not great, but you'll see the survivability later. Mundus Stone, the Steed, or the Lord. And as for your food, you want to have a Tri-Stat or Bewitched Sugar Skulls. In terms of gear sets, 5 pieces of Leeching Plate and 5 pieces of Crimson Twilight. These are the gear sets that are going to keep you alive because they constantly allow your character to siphon health from enemies in combat, which recovers your health. The more enemies there are around you, the more effective these sets become. If you need to see the traits and enchantments in the footnotes on this slide, feel free to pause the video at any time. I suggest Sturdy traits on armor for extra block, Decisive on your weapon for extra ultimate regeneration, and Healthy on your jewelry for extra health. As for your enchantments, anything health related is ideal. However, I would suggest an Absorb Magicka enchantment for your weapons, since this build does a lot of Magicka based team buffs, and you may find it running out of Magicka quite quickly. Now for your monster set, I think there are 3 viable options here. If you want more ultimate regeneration and a modest defensive proc, Bloodspawn is the way to go. If you're lazy like me and want high defense all the time without having to buff up your defense with major resolve, then Mighty Chadet. And if you want to buff your team with resistances, then Lord Warden. There is no wrong answer when it comes to these monster sets. It's a matter of what you're able to get and what you like. Alright, so here I'm just going to show you what I have on my character right now. So I got the Leeching Plate sword here, right? Well, Leeching Plate shield. And honestly, I don't have the recommended traits that I just recommended to you on my gear because I can't afford it, right? You need transmute crystals. But, I mean, regardless of whether or not I have the proper traits, these, I'm still very, very unkillable on hard veteran content. Like, you see my gear here is blue, and I don't even have the proper traits, but even then, this character is just really good when it comes to difficult content in terms of survivability. So you don't have to worry too much about it. If you can't afford it with the transmute crystals, then it's okay. Just save up over time and then change it later. But otherwise, yeah, that's basically it in terms of what I have on the body on this character. Now, in terms of your main skills, you want to have Igneous Shield from the Earthen Heart skill line. You want to have Green Dragon Blood from your Draconic Power skill line. Igneous Weapons from your Earthen Heart skill line. Defensive Stance from the One Hand and Shield skill line. Pierce Armor from the One Hand and Shield skill line. And finally, Magma Shell from the Earthen Heart skill line. And later on, I'll show you how to use this character and the combos. Now, because you're only using skills from the Draconic Power and Earth and Heart skill line, I suggest maxing out both the passives in both those trees. You don't have to worry about Ardent Flame, which is the first one, or the third one. And basically, Draconic Power, a lot of the passives there give you extra tankiness, give you better block, give you better healing received and recovery. So that's why you want to max that as well. And for Earth and Heart, you're just basically increasing the duration of a lot of your Earth and Heart abilities, which is really helpful in combat. And as for your other passives, these are absolutely necessary because they're one-handed shield. You should be maxing one-handed shield for that block and the cost reduction of block. Heavy armor because that's all you're using. Undaunted, if you don't have the points for it, it's fine. You're really going to get a really small, modest boost to all three of your stats, health, magicka, and stamina. And obviously, you always want to max out your race, which is the Nord here, because you want to take advantage of your race. Now, in terms of how to use this character, it's very simple. Before you go into battle, always cast Igneous Weapons so you can buff your whole team. And this lasts usually like, 50 seconds to a minute approximately. So it's a pretty good buff. And after you do that, you start aggroing enemies with your Pierce Armor. Always stab the strongest enemies first, right? Stab the boss, and then stab enemies that are attacking your team. Now, if your team starts becoming overwhelmed, especially your healer, and you need to give extra shields to your team, cast Igneous Shield. Just be wary of the cost of the skill because it can actually down your magicka quite quick. Now, here there's some clips of my character casting the spell, and that basically puts a bunch of rocks around yourself and your teammates, which can buy your healer 8 seconds, or buy teammates that are about to die for about 8 seconds. Now, Green Dragon Blood is your main self-burst heal that will heal 1/3 of your health. You may choose to cast this before heading into battle as well, as it increases your health and stamina recovery, as well as your healing received. Just be wary of its cost, it's pretty expensive. Finally, you want to cast Magma Shell as your last resort. It is the skill that will save your life and give your team a powerful shield that will be 100% of their health for 10 seconds. So, situations when this is warranted is when you're taking too much damage and you need to revive teammates, or if your team is running low on health and the healer is overwhelmed. And yeah, that's basically it. Not a really long guide. I mean, yeah, 10 minutes is not ideal because, some people have a short attention span, but it's a pretty simple tank to use, man. I got really nothing else to say. Here at the end, I'm basically just showing you some more gameplay in terms of survivability. So basically any single player content or in-game content that doesn't require like dungeons or trials, you're not going to die. Nothing's going to kill you. I've been standing here forever and I can't be killed by these enemies at all. And this is in Craiglorn in one of the dungeons. I forgot the name of it. Now this next gameplay here is an actual dragon in Elsewhere, where I basically just stand at the dragon right in front of his face, near damage, and I don't even have food, if you can see on the bottom over there. Like, I don't have a food buff on. And it's not easy to kill this character. Every once in a while I might have to put on like a shield or something, but I mean literally it's just once in a while, like as in once every 10 or 20 seconds. But you can't, like, I'll stab him once, yeah, you can't take me out. Now this is one of the hard bosses on freaking Deshaun. It's the Gwar that just hits super heavy, and here I have to occasionally cast like a defensive posture shield or defensive stance shield so I don't die, but yeah, great here. And for here, I don't have to do anything. Like, I went to the washroom while getting attacked by this griffin, and yeah. I mean, you wait here long enough, you could probably kill any boss, because Leeching Plate and Crimson combined does about 2k damage per second if you average it. So yeah, that's it. That's got nothing else to say. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning into my channel, and thank you so much for helping me reach 200 subs. I appreciate it a lot. Comment on the bottom or what you would like to see next, and I'll try my best. Work slowing down a little more. Fingers crossed. I hope it keeps slowing down, but yeah, haven't really been able to play. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Much appreciated, friends.